Welcome, thank you for being here for our actors panel today. We're going to be recording this as well. It'll be up on our YouTube channel, going to our email list and all that. So I hope you all find it valuable. I'm going to invite Jonathan Lipp, the festival director. I'm going to pass it over now to our moderator, Talia, and thank you all for being here.
Hello, welcome to the Big Apple Film Festival. This is the actors panel. My name is Talia Kraus, and let's get this started. So first things first, I'm going to ask you to tell everyone your name and which film you starred in.
Hello, my name is Justina Adorno, and I starred in the film Melancholy that is on December 10th.
Hi, my name is Amber Jesse, and I starred in the film Bland that premiered this past Monday.
Hi, my name is Caleb Wells, and I starred in the film Outcast Force, which premiered Wednesday.
Hi, my name is Zen Dot, and I starred in the film RSVP that was screened on Monday as well.
We'll get better at it. So,
My first question is, through the making of the film, what did you learn and how have you evolved as actors in your career?
I learned during filming Melancholy that I am, first and foremost, an actress, because in this film I pretty much directed, produced, wrote it, I did everything, cast it, and I'm like, no, I just want to be an actress, and it inspired me that I was a better actor than all the other roles that I ended up fulfilling. So it made me really, really confident in my acting abilities.
I produced this with my close friend from acting school, so I think, and she wrote it, and she had this idea, and we filmed it at my apartment. So I think one of the things I learned that it's fun when you make it fun, and it's just fun to work with people that you're close to and you have a great relationship with. I just want to keep doing that.
I wrote this film, Outcast Force. It's a Viking film, and I had to learn Estonian. My lines in Estonian for it, and I have an Estonian director. And the thing that I learned was like a reliance on a strong director, and wanting a director who has a point of view as well as like literally for this, I didn't, between me and the other character who were speaking Estonian, we only learned our lines in Estonian, so I didn't know the language. So I had to rely on the director, not only for like intonation and getting the lines right in a different language, but just having the right energy in the scene without even really knowing how it's coming across, because doing it in a different language, you think you're doing your best, but you really gotta rely on a strong director to bring out the best, especially in a situation like that.
I know this is an actors panel, but it looks like everyone was wearing multiple hats on all the projects, so I feel like at home here. I learned that I'm not as terrible a writer as I was making myself up to be, because I also wrote the film. But another thing I learned as far as acting is concerned, I was also co-producing the film, and we, I guess, didn't plan for the light changing. So we had to, under pressure, decide to shoot another day. And I was always worried that is this going to affect my performance, the production side of it. And fortunately, I was able to take on that pressure and still keep the performance up to the standard that I wanted it to be. So I realized I can perform under pressure.
actually, Zen, would you mind holding the mic?
Sure.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So since you were also one of the writer of your short, I'm wondering if it was inspired by a true story, because it's filled with emotion and trauma and discourse. So can you speak to that?
First of all, thank you so much for that compliment. Yeah, it is not a true story in the sense it did not exactly happen to me, but it's definitely inspired from my personal experiences growing up in the family dynamics that I grew up in. It was an imagination of what if one day I was placed in that situation. That's how I saw it play out. And it was really important for me to make sure that I show both perspectives. It's a mother-daughter story. And for those who have not watched it, it happens against the backdrop of the father just passing away. And how the mother and daughter are handling grief very differently. And that is what's making them clash. So it was important for me to balance it out. So it was personal, but I also had to kind of empathize with the mother character and think of like, how would it be if I was in her shoes? Thank you for that question.
So a few of you have already touched on some of the challenges that went into the making of your shorts, mostly because you're wearing so many different hats and probably thread thin. But I'm wondering if there's a challenge that you experienced, particularly to the acting. Was it getting into character that was tricky? How did you relate to the character that you were playing? And did the director have anything to do with, the character that you became?
Such a great question. I'm really lucky that in my acting career prior to making this film, I've only had amazing experiences on set, and I only had one hat to wear. So in the moment of filming, we filmed in one day and like a couple hours the next day. It was really difficult letting go of all the other responsibilities I had, and it wasn't a high budget set, so expectations were not necessarily being met. And with my acting, especially because my film was very emotional, kind of like yours, and very close and personal to me, I had to talk to myself as a director, as myself, as an actress, and say, regardless of what's happening around you, you have to show up as this character and do your best. And I had to talk to myself like a crazy person in the bathroom to prep myself to shut out everything else and just give the performance, because at the end of the day, I know as an actor, most of the time we're the ones responsible for the work because we're the faces of the work, and I had to tap into my talent, my art, and it was amazing. Like she said, I was like, I know I'm good at working under pressure, but this was another level of pressure I'd never experienced. And I was challenged, but also very proud of myself as an actor. And it, like I said earlier, it just solidified that this specific aspect in filmmaking is where I'm best at. So it was unfortunate for everything else, but for me as an actor, I was like, oh, at least I got that part done. Now I gotta put those other freaking hats on that is much more difficult to wear.
I think I got very lucky in that my friend wrote characters that were pretty much ourselves. So I don't think I had too much trouble tapping into that. I think it was more just being more of myself on camera, which I think is something I've been trying to lean more into as I get more into this. Because even though you're someone else, you are still essentially yourself. You're just bringing out other parts of you that you might not have known existed. So I think it was fun that I kind of got to just tap into more of myself and just use that to make her want to see herself in a new light. Because the film was about her getting over a breakup and just coming to terms, and it ends with her saying affirmations about herself in the mirror. So it was just a beautiful moment. I think I enjoy being that encouragement and for that part of the film.
I think the biggest challenge for me was the Estonian language, because we changed the language that we were going to speak a week before. And so I had to rely on the director and the director's mother, who did the best translation of the lines. And that's also because I wrote the film a few years before we shot it. And as much as you want to make something as quick as you can, the value of having that amount of time thinking about the character, I had no problem like getting into it I also have some Swedish ancestry, and I spent some time in the Marines, so being a Viking was like a dream come true, and so there was no
It
like,
felt natural.
yeah, exactly, because I had to think about it for a long time.
Justine, I commend you on wearing that many hats, including director, because I never want to do that. Luckily, I had a great director who's here. For me, RSVP, I think I was at an advantage because I wrote it. It came from me. I sort of already wrote the way I wanted to act. So I wouldn't say getting into that character was challenging. I think there were a lot of other challenges around it. And I was so lucky that I had a director that I could trust her vision and trust her coaching and trust her leadership in walking us through the whole process. And I think your second question was how important the director was.
Right.
Yeah.
Becoming who you were.
Oh, immensely important. Because even though I wrote the character the way I wanted to write it, I think only through the multiple different rehearsals we had with the person or the actor who was playing my mother, under Prerna's guidance, were we really able to flesh out the proper arc of both the characters.
I have a follow-up for you, Amber. So your film, usually, typically actors are together on camera and can feed off of each other's energies. But if I'm not mistaken, you were acting over a FaceTime call, right? So how did that work technically? How many times did you have to rehearse the timing of that? Or was it all in the editing? And what was that process like, kind of having to assume what was going to be said?
So yes, it was a FaceTime call between my friend and I, but we filmed it at my apartment. So I was filming in my bedroom and she was filming in the living room. And we really did call each other. So we were working off of each other live. So that was fun. And we got lucky with, had the door closed for the sound. But then we would film me talking to her, and then she filmed herself talking to me, and then we got some close-ups. So we kind of just kept having the same conversation. And as I said before, she wrote it with me in mind. So she kind of wrote how we talk already. So it was just a natural flow. Like the first time we read it together, it was like a regular conversation between us.
Well, it was executed very well. You all should see it. It worked out well, and that makes sense. That's how you did it. So I have a follow-up question for you, Caleb. I know you spoke about your background in the Marines, but you also have a background in stunt work. I was wondering, how did that experience inform yours acting in this film?
It did very much. I got my SAG card like 2013 because I did stunts on Person of Interest here in New York. And I was able to do that because of my time in the Marines, so I had a lot of combat fight training. But certainly being on set and doing stunt work, it's a whole different beast because you're not actually hitting somebody, and there's camera involved and there's story involved. So all of that really helped for the fight scene in my movie, which for me is the part of it that I love the most. We hired a great stunt coordinator who helped us work through it. And the reason I think it came across so well is because being a stunt person and working with a stunt coordinator, it matters what each character is doing at every moment, because nobody can be just like, you've watched stuff where you might not believe the fight, but if a character is just like in the background waiting to be punched or jump in, then it's not as realistic. So he really helped bring everything into place. So everybody had a job at every moment, and every character fought in the way that their character would fight. So if they had a really, there was a guy who, one of my actors broke his arm like a week before. And it actually worked out because of his character. We put him in like a leather sling as if you would during, Viking times. And he ran around with it, and it worked perfectly for his character, and therefore he wasn't going to be as courageous jumping into a fight. He's got a broken arm. His personality is a little bit meek, so the stunt coordinator helped bring that into the story as far as like how he would arrive at this fight and how he would perform. And so that's, I guess, the value of doing stunts and having a great stunt coordinator as well.
Thank you so much for that answer. I had no idea that you can adapt and that well, and it makes the performance so much more intentional, right?
Right.
People out here that maybe want to be actors or actresses, and they look up to, performers like you. What advice do you have for them?
Oh my goodness. So much advice. I would say to really find out who you are as deeply as possible, unapologetically, because our whole job is to step into someone else's shoes, and the more you know yourself, the more you forgive yourself, and the more you try to understand why you do what you do, or why people perceive you as they perceive you, you're able to do that for whatever character you play, and that helps bring more complexity to your characters and enriches the full-rounded person that you're playing, because we want to play multi-dimensional characters, not just someone who is just flat written on the page. In acting school, like, they ask you, who am I, right? Like, who are you? So I think it's important, if you're looking into being an actor, one, to never give up, and two, to continue to discover who you are and what makes you tick, so that when you do get the opportunity to play someone else, you also have that curiosity to figure out who this person is, what they like, why people see them this certain way, and humanize them as much as possible.
I think one of the biggest things for me is just really believing in myself. And I think, like, we're all on this, like, crazy journey. And I think just in the past few years, I've really stepped into who I am, and just truly knowing what you want and what you want to do with this, and just going for it. Because if you know exactly what you want and you believe you can achieve it, you will do everything that you need to do. The right doors will open up for you. And I really think it's also important to just, especially at the beginning, don't say no to things. Just do it. You never know. Who knows what could happen?
This is the only advice you need both of you say. Do everything and find out who you are. So I'll just piggyback on that, like finding out who you are. Do as difficult things as you can do, and also outside of acting, like travel, sign up for things, go on adventures, do the things that test you personally, and then discovering who you are will come. And trying everything possible, even if you don't think it's a role for you, because then you'll learn, like, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this, or not, and you don't have to do it again. But the journey that I've had is also, I have a view of myself that I think I would be great at, which is why I wrote a Viking film. But, like, I may still discover that maybe I'm weirdly good at comedy, and this is just my road to that. So it's kind of like, do everything possible and test yourself in every way, and go with what you feel is right for you.
I think my panelists covered a lot of important points. I'll try to not be repeating, but I'll say 3 things. There's so much that could go into this, but first is collaborate, and just try to learn as much as you can. Say yes to things, get on set, and just try to pick up as many skills as you can. Find people you can collaborate with. If you bring a certain skill set, find someone else with another skill set. Second thing is, similar to what you said, I highly recommend having a full, wholesome life outside of acting, so that, this is not a linear career. It may go somewhere, it may not. So just have something else going on that enriches your life. And the last thing I'd say is patience, because patience bears resilience, bears gratitude, because again, you don't know, there's no such thing, well, maybe some people are overnight success, but I heard this thing somewhere, it takes 10 years to be an overnight success. So it's a long game, and there's a lot of luck involved in people who do break big, and luck is right time, right opportunity, and to get there, you need patience. So I highly recommend that too.
I just want to add also, really being so certain of the type of stories you want to tell. Because I kind of disagree with taking whatever, maybe in the beginning, but then you want to be really specific about what stories you know you can tell. Because as we know, acting, there's a lot of no's and a lot of doors closed. But when you are so sure of like, this is the type of story I know I can tell, that when you get those opportunities, you have so much more confidence because you know, maybe that other role, someone else could do it, but this one, no. This one, I am like meant to do this. So I think if you get specific with the type of stories you want to tell, then people know how to classify you, because casting directors, as much as I love them, they also don't have as big of an imagination. So you have to be so clear on who you are as a storyteller that when you show up or you make that self-tape, it's so clear that you know what you want to say, that they feel confident in your work moving forward.
I love all of your answers and how connected they are, because perhaps the trick is to be an opportunist and always remain with that attitude, take advantage of everything that comes your way, and like you said, you never know who you're going to meet. But then through that experience, you figure out who you are, you learn more about yourself, and then you're ready to, you have that maturity to know what kind of stories you'd like to tell. So it can be both, I believe. At this point in the panel, I'd like to open up to the audience for Q&A. Okay, I'll come to you first in the back.
My name is Steven Sherman. I'm a screenwriter. I have a question for all of you. The question is hypothetically: what if your agent came to you and bring you the script and tell this role to change your career to a higher level? But when you read the script, you find the other character which you feel better, which you feel that you give more. What will be the answer? Will you accept that role, which agent or producer give it to you, or will you speak to director or producer? Look, I feel that I will more better in this role.
Both. I was like, hell yeah, I'm good for this, let me read this. And I would really, really try to see why they saw me as a good candidate for this role. And really, because as an actor, you have to adapt, right? It is very true with what you said. We usually play ourselves, right? That's why stereotype, cast typing is a thing. But it is also our job to adapt and transform. That's like the best opportunity.
Challenge.
Right? Yeah.
Challenge.
I would be like, holy shit, I would never see myself as this, but if I get this role, maybe this will be amazing for me as an artist.
Yeah.
But if I had it in me, as me, Justina, I would definitely, if I was close to another role, I would say, is there a possibility to also see me audition for this role as well? Because I want the overall project to be great.
Yeah.
And I know with what I have to offer, I would help the overall project as this role. Does that make sense? Because for me, I care about the project as a whole. I want everyone to be successful. Of course I want to be, but if I'm successful in it, but the project itself is not, it's not as fulfilling because I really love art. So I would ask if I could possibly be seen for
You are the fighter, yeah, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would ask. And also I do find like a lot when I read scripts, I'm like, what is this? But then like, you get there and you read it with everyone and you're like, oh, okay, you know what? Maybe we got a chance here. So I think that comes into play too, because I've done that. I've auditioned and I'm like, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know, maybe I think I could play this person. And then I get there first day and I'm like, you know what? yeah, they should have been cast.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, but I do think at a certain level, I would ask if I truly felt that something else was better.
Great.
It's the exact dilemma that we all want.
Right.
Yeah. For me, I think it's important to take the long view, and so in that case, it would be, depending on who it's coming from. You know, if it's a big agency and they're like, this is the role, then maybe you do that role because after that, when you get the award or the film goes big and wide, you can choose the roles that are more, you know, better, that are better for you later on. So it's like, there's like so many details to consider in that, but that's, I think, the best way to do it is what's the long view? Or are you like so comfortable with your career so far that like
Yes.
you're like, I'm ready to do exactly only what I want
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, I think.
I agree with Caleb, as tempting as it is to do everything. And for me, it's more fun to play a character that's so far away from who I am, really. I would have to make that decision based on which role would open up a new door for my career, which role would further my career. So I think it would have to, my decision would depend on that.
I know, Caleb, you mentioned you were SAG represented, but are you all represented by an agent or a manager? And if so, how did you get to that point? What steps did you take to get there? And just advice on people trying to get representation.
We can start with me because I don't have a TV agent yet. I just have a commercial agent, and I'm trying to figure out how I can get to that level because I feel like that is what's needed in my career now to get through certain doors. And talking to several people, it seems like what I'm hearing is that people in my position or in my stage of career have to keep doing what we're doing, which is I'm making my own films, I'm submitting them to film festivals, I'm trying to gather the optics and build my resume on my own. And it seems that the right person will find you the more you place yourself in the right environments. But with that said, if anyone can recommend a I will take the recommendation. I just want it to be the right fit. I want it to be a mutually beneficial partnership. Someone young and hungry in the agency world who really believes in my work, that would be the most ideal match. So I'm just putting it out there in the ether and hoping something does work out.
Meet the right people on the festivals.
Yes, trying.
Yeah.
It's true, it's true. A friend of mine watched my film and showed it to her manager, and her manager was like, I want to talk to him. And that happened last week. I've had a manager for like 8 years, which I think is what I would recommend the way to go if you can have any control over anything is try to find a manager first. Because the manager will take care of you, manager can still submit you. And the agents really come in when you've booked and they do the deal. And they can help you get higher level stuff, and it's certainly valuable if you get one. But I think the golden nugget in representation is a manager who loves you and wants to work with you because they're more likely to stick around because an agent is required to get you, certain things. I've been through a handful of agents that have been good for me, but it's my manager that's always stuck by me. She cares about my career. She's always pitching me. And so that's kind of she's like second mom. So look, you can't ask for anything better than somebody who's going to stick around for a long time.
What I did when I first started at acting school was I was on backstage applying to all the students. And then I got very fortunate and lucky with backstage that I got commercial work too. So I was able to eventually put together a reel. And then I was able to get some voiceover work. So just things like that, and then pitching yourself. And I was sending out emails like, hey, look at me, please. So then I got lucky and I got an agent. And I mean, it's a journey though. I'm still looking for other stuff because this is just the beginning.
Hi, that's always a question. I got really lucky. I've been studying acting since I was very, very young, and the very first start of the very, very first start is just like really being hungry as an actor. That like Eminem's song, when the opportunity comes, you have only one shot and you can't miss it. So when I graduated college, there was a showcase and I was like, this is my life. Everybody else is excited about their productions, but I am going to be an actor. So do you want to sign me or not? And I just exuded that in my work, and I got signed immediately before graduating college. And but I was still theater, so I wasn't really trained on camera, but I knew I was meant for camera. So I auditioned, like you said, camera work. I did everything always, but I'm not a good networker. I'm not. I'm really good at talking when someone asks me something, but going around saying, hi, I'm an actor, it was never for me. So I knew that was not gonna help me. So whenever an opportunity for showcasing work, doing student films, making a freaking reel, one of the best advices I got was that an agent takes 20%, right? 10%, 20%, I don't really know what's going on in the world these days. And that's as much work as they're gonna do. You have to do the rest. So when I was slammed with that, because I'm like, why am I not getting these auditions? I was like, oh yeah, I have to do the work. And I got into the NBC Diversity Showcase, and that's when I found real representation that really believed in me. And honestly, I'm sitting opposite of everyone. Get an agent. I mean, get only one, especially in the beginning of your career, because your paycheck will diminish. You know, you have your taxes, then you have to pay for your agent's fee, and then your manager fee, and then, you know, so like focus on one person who really believes in you, and ask people who are represented in a light that you also want to be represented in, because Gersh is different than CAA and APA and Innovative Artists. They're all different. They all have their little niche type of actors. So as much as certain agencies sound like ideal, you may not even realize that you even want to be in that type of world. You are looking for an agency or management that focuses more on indie actors or actors that are more real and grounded and not pretty and bubbly and like this facade, you know, and, you know, making that real is very important. I think even if you have to write it, especially nowadays where cameras are incredible, they don't care about seeing the other actor. You have another actor there, but like make sure you're giving your best work, right? The best scene that you want to be casted in, and do that and create an incredible reel. And just always fight, because your agency or your manager is just like any relationship. Communication has to be the type of communication style that works for you, you know, because I always hear people saying, my agent, they never communicate, they never send me out. Well, you need to find an agency or representation that speaks the same language as you, so that you feel comfortable to ask these questions and ask for feedback, and just never give up. Look at all these networks that they have showcases. Audition the best you can for the showcases, because that's when the bigger representatives are there looking for talent. So any type of showcase, that has been the biggest turning point for me. It's like, where are the big people looking? Okay, let me go there, and if I get into that, I better be on my shit. An actor prepares, right? That's like the book. An actor has to prepare every time. The opportunity is always pivoting. An agent can drop you in a year once that contract is gone, so you can't get comfortable with whoever's representing you. You know, you have to be willing to say, hey, this relationship's not working, I need to pivot.
Thank you so much for those very tangible, concrete answers. We have time for one more question, quick question.
If you have to choose TV series or movie, which one will you choose?
Why would I not choose both?
I think
I wrote
TV,
the TV series. I wrote TV pilot, so I just
TV
want
series for sure.
to. Yeah, I want to choose.
No, I was gonna say TV series anyway, because I feel like that's more longevity. I wanna have a long career. Films can go either way. And I would really like the responsibility to carry your character episode to episode, season to season. So,
Yeah.
I'd pick TV
It's a
series.
big challenge, yeah.
Sorry?
It's a big challenge, yeah.
Yes, and I would be up for that.
I'm gonna say film. I think it fits my personality.
You look like a film guy, yeah.
Yeah. And I know that you can, and like you can really be with characters in TV shows, and especially certain ones. You can all think of shows that you're so extremely emotionally invested in the characters. But I have just a deep love for film, and having it be like a thing, and it ends, and you're just crying at the end, and you love it, and you love characters, just so film.
Yeah, Phil, okay.
I'm gonna say TV series because you just really get to live in that world for an extended period. And that's my favorite part of acting. That's why I kind of prefer theater, but that's what I like.
I thought I was only gonna be a film actress, and I've been successful in TV, which has been great, but TV is not always longevity. Nowadays, the show gets picked up for one season, and that is it. I've had experience in that, and then longevity in TV series as well. But I agree with you, there's something about film I keep turning this off. Okay, there's something about film that's just like a moment, and it's just deeper, and it's just, you have to escape. Nowadays, people watch TV and they barely watch it, and, but if you're looking for money, TV is where it's at, unless you get a big budget film. TV is good longevity financially, great. And it's cool to go to work every day, right? Or every other day, or you have stability in that. But it's hard, it's really tough, because TV I think is getting a little bit better in certain ways when it comes to certain plot lines. It's a little deeper, depending on the network. So I say TV series if I'm a freaking series regular. That's it. And the film, anything to be in that little world for a moment is just so freaking cool. The lights are off, everyone shut the fuck up, phones are down. I love that element. It's kind of like theater, I miss theater. I want to be on Broadway.
So maybe the question
Break a leg.
TV, film, or theater.
Theater!
Break a leg.
Theater wins. All right, so before we all exit, I'd like to let you guys shameless plug anything that's coming up, besides, of course, celebrating your work in this film festival.
Yes, thank you so much for opening that up. Everyone's film has already come out. I'm so sad. I want to see all of your work. I'm gonna have to go online and see it. But my film is not out yet. It comes out December 10th, and I would love to see all of you there. And then you can ask me all the specific questions. So December 10th is when my film Melancholy will be premiering at Big Apple Film Festival. And you can follow me at Justina. I am looking to make more independent films, because I really care about telling important stories, especially of those of the voiceless. That's why I got into acting. I think it's so essential for people to be seen and heard. So yeah, you can follow me there.
I will be in a play premiering in March. It's called Meal Ticket, and I have a website, amberjesse.com. There's a hyphen in between Amber and Jesse because it was stolen. And then also you can follow me on Instagram at amberjesse7.
I don't have anything specific coming out since my film already premiered, but I'm happy to share that with anybody who's interested. I have written the feature version of my short because it's proof of concept, and my directors in Estonia kind of laying the groundwork for us to hopefully make that within a few years as a feature.
Great.
My film also already premiered here, but I can send a link as well. And if you want to follow me, I also have a dash in my website because someone took my domain and they were asking for 25,000. for it. It's zen-dot.com, and my Instagram is zen.dot, ZENDOT.
Thank you so much. I'd love to see a feature version of your short. That'd be epic. Thank you guys so much for coming out.